wouldn't want to be gone on that game, would you?
Oh, wow. Or a backline player.
All right. We're ready to roll here in the closing 35 minutes of the Huddle and Lofty 88.9 FM. We've got the live stream going on the Huddle Reformed. I'll also pop out in a second, put it on Call of the Wild because Timmy Glover's still in the house. We've got Pistols, Goldie. We're on air, Lofty 88.9 FM, and it's a very special. Well, we got the hat on. Yeah, chuck that on. Yeah,
I'll put it there. Give him a bit of...
This is the first time I think we've had the Hills Football League umpires in the studio. Pistols.
Yeah, I think in the history of the Huddle, we've been doing this for a while. It's it's a first. So very honoured to have Hills Football League Umpires Association coach Corey Bowen and his assistant Bill Tonkin. Boys, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Don't feel in under any pressure because you probably have that every Saturday, I'd suggest. So
we do.
Yeah, a bit nervous, but that's all right.
Now, Corey, firstly, we'll start off with you because your background umpiring is quite extensive. Sandfield also did a stint in the AFL as well.
Yeah, that's right. So currently still umpiring in the samples. I've umpired 378 games currently, 13 grand finals. Oh, not 13 AFL games and 8 SNFL League grand finals. So, yeah, been around a while. So,
what made you take up umpiring?
Originally, I started out just as a little kid coming out of primary school into high school, looking to get a job. So, like pocket money was the key, and that was the main reason. And then obviously spent two or 3 years on the boundary, and then moving on, I wanted to try my hand at field umpiring because it's obviously a bit more coin in the field. And then found out I was actually half reasonable at it, so sort of followed the career path through.
So, you didn't play junior football at all? Or?
Yeah, I played junior football through until under 16s.
Okay. Yeah. And Bill, of course, former legend at Blackwood.
How did I start?
Yeah,
probably finished playing footy and looking to keep fit. PE teacher, so probably always umpired some sort of games all the time. And then there's actually an ad in Gumtree. On Wednesday, a club was looking for an umpire, and I was having a chat to my wife. I gave him a call, and literally that Saturday went out about 12 years ago in the Adelaide Footy League and helped that club out for 3 years as a club umpire. And then the coach from Adelaide Footy League approached me and said, "Do you want to come and actually do it properly?" And I said, "Yeah." So I did that for the last 11 years in the Adelaide Footy League, and enjoy being part of the game. And realistically for me, it was going from being a player and then an umpire. The key thing was just to get away from the ball and open up your vision and see what's going on. And fortunately, I had a couple of really good umpires early on who gave me some feedback and tips. They helped me along the way. And then even
what were those tips?
Oh, well, it's first game, the guy just said, like, you look like you're still playing, mate. Like, you got to get back from the ball and actually open up your vision and get back that 20, 25 metres, and that made a big difference. And umpired a couple of pretty, heated games in my career in the Adelaide Footy League with some really experienced umpires, and they was around controlling the game and being really clear with your communication, and I suppose also for me it's that building that rapport with the players and having a feel for the game and an empathy for the players and coaches. So that's, I think, what I sort of aim at.
I was going to bring that up. The importance of, especially in country footy and the hills, that banter between a player and a umpire. How much do you allow, and when does it cross the line? Yeah.
I think it's important to have that communication two-way, and you have a chat. If you want to have a chat about a decision, wait for that break in play, whether that's quarter time or after a goal. And if you say that and build that rapport, I think players understand you're going to have that chat. But I think there's times when, I might say, just let me keep umpiring here and focus, and when there's a chance for a break, we'll have a chat.
Okay.
And once that's established and they know that's what you're going to do and you follow through on that, I think that's the way to go. And same with coaches. If coaches have got a question they want to clarify, our process is the captain comes in Hills Footy League and talks about it, send an email to Corey, and we follow it up during the week and get back with a response as quick as we can, but we want to actually still go through the footage. Like Classic was, I think, round 2. We had a Nan game where Dale wanted some clarification and gave us what he needed us to look at. We did. We had a meeting with him and we addressed it, and I think that was good learning for us that we could then take back to the umpires. But that approachability and I think that two-way communication is really, really important. And we try to instill that in our other umpires about being approachable and we're part of the game. as well. Like, and sometimes you got to get out of the way of your own ego as well. Some umpires do, and just let the players play.
Yep.
I think that's important.
Pistols, before you start, as important as this is, do you think, is he asking that question to deal with the under-8 situation? Has he moved on from that? Or?
No, I don't think. Being an umpire,
We'll talk about it afterwards.
I suppose in life there's just a thing like when you get done for speeding or whatever. Just it's a general. I suppose it's human nature to try and buck or have something against authority. So when you guys go out and you're in charge of a game of footy, but you know, as soon as you go out there, you're the world's worst person. You know, what's your feeling towards that?
Yeah, well, like you said, we are the worst person.
Because you're like the policeman.
Yeah, you're a policeman. And to be an umpire, you've actually, you say you've got to have thick skin. But yeah, like at the end of the day, you've got to make decisions. You get to split the second to see something, and you've got to pay it. So it's really about backing your own judgment. And we do make mistakes. But if you make a mistake, you've just got to own it too. Like, there's no point in arguing with a player about it. You made a mistake. Like, we can go back and go, yep, I'll have a look at it on the vision. And I learned from SANFL. We go back and look at vision too. So that's my coaching. It's no different to a player. A player they make mistakes. We're all
how
human.
many times in a game, Corey, you see players miss the mark, or especially in goal kicking even?
Miss a goal.
Yeah.
Right, but you guys, you make one bad mistake, everyone's on you like a ton of bricks. It's just, it's not a level balance.
No, it's not level. And I don't think it ever will be, but that's the sort of concept we've got to change. I think it's just the way umpires have been seen for like years and decades. It's now we're trying to change that perception.
Have you noticed any improvement? Are you actually gaining some traction with it, or?
I find we're finding the respect side of it. Yes, it has improved. Obviously, I think it was 3 years ago the AFL really stamped it out with the umpire abuse, and that's changed. It's now more getting it through to community level and obviously on the sidelines, the spectators and that.
And obviously this weekend's going to play a big part in that. But interesting the comment before about you do have to deal with some umpires that do have an ego.
Yeah, I think that's like anything.
Absolutely.
As a coach, you do a players have got an ego.
Yeah.
So you've got to have a way to work with it.
But I think the problem is, you're right. I mean, you get involved in footy, which you both are. There's plenty of egos around the place, but obviously in the umpiring ranks it's a minority, it's not a majority.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that Corey's been really clear around we're the third team on the field and we need to work as a team and support free kicks, as well as that we need to also communicate with each other. And if one person's not doing the right thing, we did pull a few into line last year and let them know what our standards were, and they did pull their socks up, which was good.
Yeah, and that's good. That's got to be positive, a positive outcome for everyone involved.
Yeah, definitely.
You're in the Huddle on Lofty 88.9 FM. We've been blessed with having, the head honchos of umpiring in the Hills, Corey Bowen and also Bill Tonkin, join us.
Yeah, and we're on the live stream on the Huddle.
I was going to say, any questions,
and
Benny?
Call of the Wild Facebook page. So we'll get to those and let them build up.
Open the phone, so to speak, and see, I guess. Hey, you mentioned before, Bill was talking about just a bit of back chat, dissent or whatever you want to call it, just queries. Does that happen at a higher level, like Sandford, and like you've had players... Have you engaged in a chat with players in your history?
Yeah, well, I came through early 2000, so if you remember, there was a couple of boys down out of Elizabeth called the Gowns, so they were very good at giving advice. You also still had like your Justin Sikalella, Jeremy Clayton at Port Adelaide.
Yep.
So back then there was a lot of those characters, and and they were good for it. And coming through as a young umpire, it sort of taught me, you're gonna cop it a bit, but you got to obviously draw the line at a certain level too. So, it's definitely a learning experience.
Just think if the McGowan boys are listening to the Huddle right now, they'll be wearing it like a badge of honour.
I always remember one of the great icons of the Hills Football League panel. Unfortunately, he's given up field umpiring now, probably because of his age. Still doing the goals. Trev McDonald. Always tell me a day he was umpiring a game at Blackwood and Ironbank, and Barney French was playing before he went on to be Sturton Port. And Trev might have made a bad decision, and Barney French has actually given it to him. And Trev turned around and said something about, at least I've touched the ball today more times than you have. Good. And Barney sort of thought about it, and you're right, and then respected the umpire. But have you ever used that sort of tone towards a player, or?
Yeah, a few times. Probably shouldn't be admitting that, but
That's good.
Yeah,
you know, like the Gowns boys, they would have a crack. You'd have a crack back. I think the way the respect's gone in the last 2 or 3 years, it's been tightened. We now have to obviously speak to the players the way we want to be spoken to. So you know, if they want to query it, we can't really have a crack back at them. But there are a couple still running around that, you know, you probably get that, you've got that player umpire relationship where they'll have a crack, so you can have a crack knowing that it's not going to go any further.
When your roster comes out and you see what game you've got this week, you say, oh no, I've got bloody such and such again who I know is a serial pest. You ever about listing anyone, but you know?
No, I don't. Not really. No, it's probably before the game when I walk out. I go, oh God, that's right. I'll be dealing with him down there, so I'll make sure I go to the other end of the ground.
Right.
Obviously, Hills Footy. We had Mick Taylor and the coaching staff there got us through to last year or the year before you guys. How did it firstly come along that you put your hat in the ring, literally because I got the hats here, to join the Hills Football League, and then how have you seen it transform over the last couple of years in the Hills Footy?
Sort of come about. Obviously, my boys were playing out at Blackwood, so I'd sort of offered to help Mick, and he sort of at the time was like, you know, we're all right. You know, you can take my job next year. And then speaking to a few people around the Hills League, they had sort of approached me and sort of said, you know, you should have a go. And obviously coming into the back end of my umpiring career, I was like, well, coaching's something I want to get into. So it was a timing wise, probably not 100% right, but you know we're bound to make it happen with the SNFL commitment. So put my name up, I'll hand in, got the job, and then obviously had to find an assistant. So knowing Bill umpired, tapped him on the shoulder. Now he's here. So. It's been good. And then last year it was pretty much, you know, everyone's a little bit scared when new people come in and making changes. So we've got the fear of change. So we've got a very sort of older established group, and you know they had a lot of questions, but we've changed a lot of things. So we've changed the way we've done appointments. You know, we're online with technology. We're doing the votes this year online through the app rather than the old piece of paper. So we're changing a lot of the admin just to catch up with the times. So. With that, and then we've gone out hard with sponsorship. Bill can elaborate on the sponsors we've got on board.
So I think that was also part of, like Corey said, started last year, like you alluded to before. Like when you're changing something, you think you've got to work out what to change and what's going to have the biggest impact. So started with a couple of things, and then we thought uniform. I think we needed to have it more inclusive gender-wise, as well as we thought it was an opportunity to approach some sponsors. So I went out and approached a few, and a few said yes, and then that enabled us to go and get a new uniform through Appel, and obviously the sponsors we got, and that's been a really good thing for us because I think it also showcases the Hills businesses, but also, as one of the umpires said to me, Bill, I feel proud walking around with a sponsor on my back. You know, like actually increase the pride, and the quality of the material was really good, and I think the fit. But I think it's also about, proud of what you're doing and proud of being part of a team. And we've got those sponsors on for 3 years as well, which helped us to be able to make that commitment financially for that new uniform. And I think it was a learning experience for us that you just got to keep asking until someone says yes, who aligns to what they see. And like, for example, Mount Pleasant Butcher, you can see it on every single photo there. And we've got Cherry and Matt Adam at Mortgage Choice and Sports Power, and I think that's really, really important that they are, our key sponsors.
Australian.
I was going to ask you
that,
how hard was it to get sponsors? Because as we talked about before, good guy, bad guy. I don't want to be seen associated with you guys.
It was very hard, very hard.
Seriously.
Yeah, no, it was. And I think, for example, a few people said yes straight away, and obviously visited a few places and did follow up. But once they committed to it and then said what they were going to do, in the Sterling Hotel, which that supported us last year and continued this year as well, we go back there on a Tuesday night, and they've been really supportive. And they just realised that they're getting exposure, but also they understood what we're trying to achieve, and they liked, contributing to community sport. So that was important.
Have we got some good young umpires coming through the ranks? They're starting to,
we have. So this year we've recruited a lot of new umpires. I think we've got about 20 new ones, and out of that 20, 15 of them are under 18, which is a good
That's
sign.
Outstanding.
Which is so now it's just a matter of having enough games to get them in and develop them. But, you know, like this year, or from last year, we had Morgan Price, who did the country A grade grand final. He's out now umpiring under 18s at the sample. And Holly Hutchinson is, who was out with us last year, is now also doing her first under 16s game this weekend. So, you know, we've got the career path and we're developing them. So, yeah, it's pleasing.
We want to be selfish and keep them.
Well, that's the thing. It's sort of rock Peter to pay Paul. I'm like, you know, I want to keep them.
We want to see them.
It's
But
like,
also, I'm not going to hold them back
like
too.
to keep your gun. You like to keep your gun players, but obviously they go down the hill to the
Yeah.
SNFL.
And then they work out how good it is up here and come back.
Hey, and another good thing, Corey, females getting involved in the umpiring thing. So I reckon it's a good thing to have females actually umpire females games.
Yes, it is. So, still working on it, but this year's been another good turnaround. So last year we had 2. This year we've got 6 signed up. They're all younger, so all around about 15 to 16 years old. So now we just want to, Bill and I are trying to get some more of the senior women. So we've been approaching them with the work of Holly too, because she's actually went out to Harndorf and the senior women's at their training one night and tried to recruit a few of the senior women just to get them involved. So, well, that's probably a big area because the women's games.
That's the politically correct way to say it. We'd say poach.
Yeah. So the women's
recruiting
games are growing, and the competitions in the 14s, 17s, and the senior women's we're getting more teams and more games, but we're not sort of recruiting more umpires to cover those. So that's probably a key area that we need to start focusing on.
Lofty 88.9 FM. We're in the Huddle, and we're talking to the umps here. We've got Corey Bowen and Bill Tonkin in the house. People watch obviously AFL, SNFL, Hills Footy. In terms of umpiring, as they might think, hang on a sec, you know, compared to, you know, their Friday night footy game at AFL. And so, yeah, what are your thoughts on those 3 competitions in terms of umpiring?
Probably what Goldie's trying to say, similar to cricket. The rules of cricket apply to every division.
Yeah.
Well,
What are your thoughts on,
Well, AFL, I think, is a lot. It is more media based and higher up on how they want the game to be played. They do like to adjust and tinker with the rules and the interpretation of the rules, you know, to suit the game at the time. So, you know, holding the balls is very different, you know, compared to when I umpired it back in 2010, 2011. Like the holding the ball rules changed. Their interpretation of that. So, and then SNFL, I think, you know, with Shane Harris, we've just stuck to our guns and we've been the same. We look about probably 5 or probably maybe even longer, 7 years ago, we became stricter with that holding the ball to what the AFL would probably like. And we've just maintained that. We haven't changed. You know, we stick to what we've been doing for like the whole time. So I think it makes it easier when you're coming through the ranks to umpire at sample level. To the interpretations, but then when you go to AFL, then you've got to adjust yourself. So I've seen younger guys, you know, get promoted to the AFL list. It takes them that couple of seasons to adjust to their interpretations.
You might want to answer this because you'll be talking about your own kind, but say if you're watching the AFL or whatever and a decision is not very good, do you bag it or say that's not right? Or
I wouldn't say bag it. It depends if it's the Crows game and it's the wife screaming at the TV and blaming them, and she's wanting to know who the umpire is, and I just sort of try to ignore it, and she'll always say that I always, you know, say the umpire's right, but you know, even if I say the umpire's wrong, you know, I look at it and like you guys would look at it and go, well, that has to be wrong. And it's the same with our other umpires. We chat about decisions that have happened on the weekend. There'll be some blue mooners or things that you don't see every weekend, and we want to clarify, and you'll ask him, did you see such and such game? Do you think it's right?
Now, one chest up, every football supporter's probably seen this. You and Bill are umpiring together. Do you get together before the game in the room? This is how we're going to play holding the ball today, or interpretation's going to be this, so we're on the same channel. We get out there and straight away 2 entirely different interpretations. AFL, it's worse because you've got 3 umpires. Do you actually collaborate? How are you going to actually umpire the game?
Not
and why could it be such a differential in decisions?
Not at sample level. No, because we know what we're going to do week in, week out. So that we're pretty streamlined. I know here in the Hills League, it's probably a little bit different because I've got some guys that train, some guys that don't. So that's where we find that there's a little bit of inconsistency. But, you know, that's the coaching stuff, I do send that out on email, and then actually you're just relying on, you know, if they're not at training, that they're watching the coaching, and if they don't understand, they ask questions. But if not, it's sort of myself watching back, if I do get feedback about umpires, and then going back, looking at the vision,
Yeah, I just I think to answer that, Jeff, I think we had a game of the weekend where the three of us are not quarter time. We had a chat, and I talked to the other two around. There's a couple of things we need to do consistently between the three of us. We talked about that, and we also talked about when we do have three, the role of the mid umpire is to work really hard, and then they swap to have a rest. But so we clarified a couple of things. So I think that's like Corey's alluding to. People who come to training, people who get the coaching, but on the day, there needs to be at least one of the three or two to be strong enough to say to the other one, we need to have a chat here, because it's not consistent. And that's, I think, part of our mentoring and coaching to our umpires, to say that we do want consistency amongst the umpires on the day, and probably improve that process at times.
So you take one as being the senior, if I could use that.
Well, I suppose you could say that, or someone who maybe, I know Corey sometimes says with the appointments, you've got umpire 1, umpire 2, umpire 3. It could be that, one of us needs to take responsibility to make that decision to say, we need to pick this up a bit, because you can feel things in the game. You can definitely feel in the game if the tension or the vibe starting to change.
You can see it from the sideline too.
You can feel it, and sometimes we do need to do something about it.
Timmy, you got?
No, I was going to go down the path of, obviously, round that we've just finished was the second week of club umpires at B grade level.
Yep.
Feedback from that to you guys?
Positive.
Yep.
Very positive.
Yeah, and I know that the two games that I was out to, like talking to the guys, they're excited. Gave them a few tips, make sure they had their yellow and red cards, and that knew how in case they needed them. But it was also giving the feedback during the game, and they were wanting feedback and asking questions. And then the next week, I know we've got some former players who are doing it, who we can see could be good umpires if they wanted to. And now I was saying to Corey just out there that you've got to strike while the iron's hot, to sort of say to them that if you like it, come and get involved, or get involved in some way. But the more people that experience it, the more idea they'll have about it.
Yeah, I asked it.
Take it back.
I watched the last 2 weeks and was pretty impressed.
Yeah.
And the other one I had was, we hear it all the time, a game of football seems to be the old wives' tale, or the comment people make, a game of football's been a great umpired well when you don't notice the umpires. What's your guys' take on that?
I think it's true. I think because you just let the game flow and you call the obvious. You've had it, everybody knows what's going on. I think when we go to watch an AFL game at Adelaide Oval, you notice that. If you're just seeing the gameplay and unfold, you definitely notice. I agree with it.
Now, we appreciate you
Yeah.
every week, but this week's going to be special because Community Umpiring Week, where we appreciate what you guys do. Just take us through what's happening.
So this week, part of the Umpire Community Week, so part of the Hills Football League with Travis, he's supported us really well. So we're going to be operating with all games. So before the games, after the coin toss, all the teams are going to line up and shake hands with the umpires.
Every grade.
Every grade.
Righto.
So every grade. That'll happen from under 12s through the men's and the women's competition. So
I like it.
And that that's there to show the spectators, mums, dads, and that we do have the support of the players and coaches. I think it's just one way of getting some recognition for the umpires that go out there each week.
Well, Rob said that article that you wrote in the Courier today, and I think there's been exposure nationally and statewide around the fact that it is Appreciation Week. And I know that I'm pretty sure it happened in the past, but Corey was strong last year that we ask our umpires every game, and obviously including this week too, to go in and meet the coaches before the game, introduce yourself, have a chat. They might have a question to ask, but just make sure that happens in every single game. I think it's important to do.
I think it's a great initiative.
Yeah,
it really is, and I think it is. I don't think I've come across a coach or a club that's suggested, oh, it's a waste of time. What are they doing here? I've got busier things to do. I think it is a really, really good initiative.
And I think last year we went and visited a few clubs and went out on their training nights and sort of introduced ourselves and took some feedback back to our umpires coaching nights as well, which is really useful to build that up. So I think those sort of increasing the connection with clubs and just the fact that there's dialogue, I think is really important.
Communication.
Yeah.
Last touch rule, was that brought in by the SNFL first? Is that right?
Yeah, they were the first to bring it in.
Yeah.
Last possession.
And then
Yeah.
last
There's a difference
possession.
between a touch and a possession.
Last possession.
That's
right.
clear possession.
Yeah, that's right. And then it's brought into the Hills. It's a great rule, I feel. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. It makes it pretty much black and white.
Yeah.
If it's a kick or a handball or a clear soccer, it's a free kick. it keeps the ball in motion, keeps the game flowing. It's just one less stoppage as well.
And then as it's progressed, what are we now? Third season?
Yeah.
In it? It is.
It just
Everyone
is,
knows it,
yeah.
everyone expects, and it
Yeah.
does. It keeps the game ticking.
Yeah. And I think last year coming in, there was a little bit around the wording of it was last touched, and clubs were still thinking, it was punched over, so they should be getting free kicks in some of the grades.
Yeah.
So Bill and I made sure we've worked really hard last year, and then this year with the coaching video that we sent out to the clubs at the start of the year, and the coaches, and when the night we had, that it was last possession.
Yeah.
And made that, really made it clear for them.
Now, Corey, there was a couple of unfortunate interpretations or incidents on Saturday that we caught on the call with a while. One, umpire Malcolm Watson sent a contest, threw the ball up. The ball got so far up, and he must have realised that time of the afternoon the sun was in his eyes, blew his whistle, took the ball, set himself up on the western side then, reactivated the throw up. In their chase for the ball, the two big ruckmen have barreled into him and sent him A over T on the deck. So may we suggest that perhaps they be issued with sunglasses for that time?
Well, that's the
That was
first time
quite-
I actually haven't
humorous.
heard of that.
It was quite humorous.
Check out the footage.
There's actually a photo which may appear in the footy budget you asked for, so I'll see if I can stick that in for you.
that's all right.
And then Aussie got a photo of him.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Over T. And then a goal kicked towards the about Bucket Town end, Alexandrina end.
Alexandrina Road.
There was a goal scored, and the goal umpire was waving the flags, and the flags fell off, so he was left looking like the drummer out of Cheap Trick, waving the sticks.
Oh, there you
So
go.
he made Sir Raldo.
It would have been like the drummer out of Def Leppard had it been behind.
Yeah, that's right. But just two little things that.
Two little things. We'll try and tidy those
Check
up
them
for
out.
this week. We also had a boundary umpire recall his own throw-in from the weekend, so it was obviously a good weekend
Well,
last week.
we love the work of the academy boys. They do some good work.
It opens a door for a flag sponsor. Anyone wants to get on board,
There you
the
go.
goal umpires.
I think a Rowdite or someone,
Absolutely.
Postic.
Yeah.
We are,
But I just thought that was quite funny waving the
Staple
sticks.
company.
we're actually onto that one.
Well,
We're
onto that
looking.
one, we've got to follow that up.
No, if you look at the footage, you'll see when it happens. Unfortunately for Malcolm, it was just got his.
That's all right.
Should have stayed with the ball on the other side.
We'll save that for the funny reel for the presentation.
Hey, what do we look for in an umpire? What makes a good umpire? Sorry?
Yeah, we just at 6:53. So
Yep.
Brendan's coming up.
Yep.
So probably just one more,
Yep.
and then we'll go
Just
fade out after
Quick
that.
what do you look for in an umpire? What makes a good umpire?
A good umpire is probably an umpire that's composed, relaxed, a strong communicator, and then and obviously knows what a free kick is, because you need to know what a free kick is. So that's probably the keys. But if you're relaxed and composed, then obviously when there's pressure on and there's crowd noise, you want to still be able to remain composed.
Goldie, it fits our man perfectly. Pistols.
Oh no, it'd be fantastic.
Composed, good communicator, understands what a free kick is.
And I think
It's
also
like any Collingwood supporter, really, isn't it?
having a feel for the game as well, like having
Yeah,
a feel
that's
for the
right.
game, and also I think not being bigger than the game. I think that's really important, like being part of the game, and also enjoying their role, actually enjoying the fact that they're an umpire, and it's also good for someone's fit as well, because you need to be able to move a bit. That also makes a difference.
Sounds
Don't worry
good.
about them doing the
No,
tips.
we won't do the tips. We'll just go
We'll
through
just
the
say what
games.
the games are.
I said
Yeah.
that Corey
Torrens
was-
Valley, Mackie. Should be a good game.
Should be a good game.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the tips.
Don't worry about
We
tips,
can do the
you're
tips and set the
umpires.
Corey out there. Just don't do the one that I'm umpiring. That's fine.
Torrens Valley, Mackie.
It's Torrens Valley going to be better, so I'll still go with Mackie.
Yeah, I'd go with Mackie.
Mackie, it is.
Torrens Valley got to get on the park
Got to get on the
sometime.
park, but I'll go Mackie.
Torrens Valley at home, but they can't seem to run out games.
You go to the Valley.
Meadows Gumaracket. This is going to be an absolute cracker.
It's Meadows home ground, isn't it?
Yeah, Meadows.
Oh, well, it should be a cracker. Last grand final was a cracker. I'll go Meadows at the home ground.
I'm going to go Gumaraca.
I'm with him. I'm going Gum.
I'll go
Upset.
Meadows.
I'm going to go Gum.
Right.
They're coming off the break. And again, it's going to be a stream game. Looking forward to just going down to the Yaruna, Kangarilla and Birdwood.
Yeah, I think Kangaroo at the home deck with Birdwood are going all right.
They are.
I might go for a draw.
All right,
draw.
nice work.
Kangarilla.
Bird, we're going to enjoy some cans on the way home. Birdwood for me.
Birdwood for me.
I think Kangies, you're not doing that game, are you?
Not that one.
You're not going into
Alright.
sports bet to get a draw.
No.
Go around.
Now, Div 1, Achunga taking on Blackwood.
So at Chunga,
Yep.
obviously they've got Turner who can play. Well, Blackwood got some confidence up, so I'll go Blackwood.
Blackwood.
I'm going to go an upset. And I know it's a big call, but I'm going to go Achunga. First
Alright.
win of the year.
There you go.
Yeah, I think Blackwood, they've got
I'll
a few
go
players
Blackwood.
back. Hodge
That's
and
all right.
Central
Remember
back,
that.
that'd be good. Mount Lofty, Mount Barker to battle with the Mountain Men over at Goat Park.
Battle of the Mounts.
Malofty got a couple of injuries, I think, which to important players, but home deck. Yeah, I'm actually going to go Mount Barker.
Yeah, I'm going to go Mount Barker. They're impressive on Anzac Day. They pushed Arndorf.
Mate, I'm having umpire appreciation night right now. I'm going the Roos, of course.
Roos for me.
Actually, I was impressed by the Roos, and I just think Lofty with a few out might sway the
Couple of
result.
keys.
Loberthal take on Nan Bremer United at the Valley of Praise.
Yeah, I think Nan will start to make a bit of a run, so I'll go for Nan.
Yep, definitely Nan.
I'm going to Lobie for another. Go just get over the line.
Right.
They got a
Depends
bit.
who plays for them, but yeah, I'll go.
I know it is, but they got a bit. I think they still got a bit of upside.
Yeah, I think the Rams will be fresh. Now, your Radler hosting at the Cabbage Patch, Harndorf.
I won't do that one because I'm an umpire that one.
Ah,
That's fair enough.
Arndorf.
Yeah, I think
Magpies for me.
Magpies.
the Magpies. So there we have it. Of
Lamb
course,
kicked 6.
Yeah, he's going all right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much,
much.
gentlemen,
Thanks
for coming in
for
for
having
your
us.
for your honest answers. And as we said, hopefully it's a good day this weekend. The community umpiring appreciation round. And they do
Will
do
we?
a great job. I know we bag them, but of course,
We don't play without them.
without them,
We don't play
Well, we-
without them.
without them, you can't have them. And yeah, what do you mean we don't bag them? Surely it's Saturdays. What, Quickie? What's the funniest comment you've ever had directed to you?
We talked about sunglasses before, and actually had an eye operation, and there's a guy from a northern suburbs team, the LA League, said to me, "At least take your sunglasses off and look at me when you're cheating." And I had a bit of a chat with him, and we had a bit of a laugh after the game. But yeah, I didn't send him off for the back chat, but I just sort of said, "Mate, that's probably a bit over the line."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Corey?
Oh, to be something similar.
Especially
I've had that.
umpiring
I've had
games
that-
at Albert and Elizabeth.
I've had that many. I couldn't say. There's been a few, but nothing that I can think of.
He could write a book.
Yeah, I could write a book about them.
Quotes from the
No,
McGowan.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks for
come-
coming in. And as we
Thank
said,
you.
we'll see you on Saturday for the live stream game from Kangaroo and Birdwood. Timmy, great to have you on board. Great,
Thanks, Tim.
great
Pleasure to
to
be here, boys.
Yeah.
And coming up very shortly is looking back with Brendan. So thanks very much. Same time next week. We'll be on at 2 o'clock on Saturday. So see you then.
Keep chasing your goals.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for that.
Thanks,
Thanks,
buddy.
Tim.
Cheers.
Good luck for this weekend.
Thank you.